cheered while I made my speech. The kids were having fun. I could see the joy in my son's eyes. That pure, innocent joy that makes you believe the world is still good. Until Celine stepped forward to give me a flower bouquet. My best friend. The woman who knew every secret I ever kept. Then I felt numb, cold. I was bleeding. Heavily, the warmth draining from my body faster than I could comprehend what was happening. I looked down and saw Celine, my Celine, pointing a Glock at my abdomen. Her hands steady, her eyes empty. The second shot tore through me. I fell to the ground, lying in my own pool of blood. People screaming, running, chaos erupting around me like a nightmare I couldn't wake from. But Emily Hart. I couldn't run with them. I couldn't feel my body anymore. The woman I trusted most, the woman who held my son when he was born, just murdered me. In front of my son. In front of everyone. But here's what they don't know. This story looks simple at first. A CEO shot by her best friend. A tragedy. A betrayal. Until you realize someone was already dead before Celine pulled that trigger, and I've been erasing myself for the past 6 months, deleting my own existence piece by piece. So the question isn't, why did she shoot me? The question is, why did I let her? 6 months before the shooting, I was standing in my corner office on the 47th floor of the Data Vault headquarters in Manhattan. The city sprawled beneath me like a circuit board, millions of lives stored in invisible clouds I helped build. My husband Marcus walked in with coffee. The expensive kind he knew I loved. He kissed my forehead, his lips warm and familiar. "You're working too late again, Emily. Come home?" I smiled. Told him I just needed to finish one more encryption protocol. Something new I was building. Something no one else would understand. He didn't ask questions. He never did. That's what I loved about Marcus. He trusted me completely. Or so I thought. Celine knocked on my door, carrying files that needed my signature. She'd been my personal assistant for 5 years, but more than that, she'd been my best friend for 12. We met in grad school, bonded over data architecture and terrible coffee. She was the first person I called when I got the funding to start Data Vault. The first person I told when I found out I was pregnant with Daniel. She sat across from me, legs crossed, scrolling through her tablet. She was wearing a navy blazer, the same color as mine. I didn't notice it then. I should have. "Emily, the board meeting is tomorrow. Are you ready for the presentation?" I nodded, distracted. My mind was elsewhere, on the vault I'd been building in secret. A hidden partition inside our own system, protected by encryption so complex that even our best engineers couldn't crack it. Inside that vault was everything. Corporate espionage. Political surveillance contracts we were running for shadow agencies. Metadata sold to foreign entities. Human data trafficking disguised as market research. I'd discovered it 3 months ago. Not by accident, by design. I'd suspected something was wrong when our revenue didn't match our client list. When board members took calls in soundproof rooms. When Marcus started coming home smelling like someone else's perfume. So I dug, and I found rot, the kind that spread silently, eating everything from the inside. Celine looked up from her tablet, her eyes studying me a little too carefully. "You seem distracted." I smiled, lied, told her I was just tired. She smiled back. But her smile didn't reach her eyes. It never did anymore. I just hadn't noticed until now, looking back, replaying every moment with the clarity of hindsight. Marcus texted me. Dinner at home. Just us. Daniel's at his sleepover. I should have known. Romance had become his weapon. Every kiss, every touch, every whispered "I love you" was a carefully aimed bullet I didn't see coming. That night, we ate pasta by candlelight. He held my hand across the table. "I'm proud of you, Emily. Everything you've built, everything you are." His thumb traced circles on my palm. Gentle, loving. But I saw it, just for a second. The flicker, the calculation behind his eyes. He was performing, rehearsing lines he'd practiced with someone else. I excused myself, went to the bathroom, stared at my reflection in the mirror. The woman looking back at me seemed unfamiliar. Tired, haunted. I didn't know it yet, but I was already disappearing. They'd already started erasing me, piece by piece, memory by memory. And the terrifying part, I'd helped them do it, because 3 nights earlier I'd agreed to try Marcus's new meditation app. The one that used neural audio to help me sleep. The one that whispered suggestions into my subconscious while I dreamed. The one that was rewriting my memories. Making me forget the vault. Forget what I'd discovered. Forget that I'd already tried to stop them once before. I looked at my calendar on my phone. There were entries I didn't remember making. Meetings with people whose names I didn't recognize. Conversations that left gaps in my day. When I came back to the table, Marcus was pouring more wine. "To us," he said, raising his glass. I raised mine. Smiled, played along, but inside a question was forming, quiet, insistent. If I couldn't trust my own memory, how did I know any of this was real? 2 weeks later, I started noticing the small things. Celine wore her hair the way I wore mine. Sleek ponytail, same height. When I switched to a bun, she did too. 3 days later, she started using my phrases, my cadence, the way I paused before making a point in meetings, the way I tilted my head when I was thinking. At first I thought I was being paranoid, overthinking. Marcus had said I was doing that a lot lately. You always see threats where there are none, Emily. You need to rest. But I wasn't imagining it. One afternoon I came back from lunch early, walked past my office. The door was cracked open. Celine was sitting in my chair, behind my desk, her hand resting on my nameplate like she was trying it on for size. She didn't see me. She was staring at herself in the black screen of my monitor, studying her reflection, adjusting her posture, her expression, becoming me. I backed away quietly, didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed to know how deep this went. That night, I accessed the company's surveillance system remotely. Scrolled through footage from the past month. There she was, every night after I left, sitting in my office, wearing my blazers she'd borrowed and never returned. Taking calls in my voice. I watched one clip. My blood went cold. She was on the phone with someone. Her tone sharp, authoritative. Yes, the transition will be seamless. No one will know the difference. She's already forgetting. Another month, maybe less, and we can move forward. I turned up the volume, leaned closer. The Emily Hart everyone knows will still exist. Just improved, controllable. She won't be a problem anymore. Pause. Because the old Emily will be dead. I sat back, my hands shaking. They weren't just planning to remove me from the company. They were planning to replace me, completely. Celine would step into my life, my identity, my son, while I... What? Disappeared? died in some tragic accident. I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from Marcus. 2 texts. Where are you? I'm worried. Come home, we need to talk. I didn't go home. I went to a hotel. Paid cash. Used a fake name. I needed to think. To plan. To figure out who else was involved. I opened my laptop, accessed the hidden vault I'd built. The one with all the evidence. But when I entered the encryption key, nothing. Access denied. I tried again. Same result. Someone had changed the password. Someone had locked me out of my own system. Which meant someone knew about the vault. And if they knew, they'd been watching me far longer than I realized. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Stop looking, Emily. You won't like what you find. I stared at the message, deleted it, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking, because the number it came from, it was my own. Someone was texting me, from my phone, which meant I wasn't holding my real phone anymore. They'd switched it. When? How? At home? At the office? How long had I been living in a script they'd written for me? I looked at my reflection in the darkened laptop screen. The woman staring back looked like me. But was she? Were these even my thoughts anymore? Or had they already started rewriting me from the inside out? I stayed in that hotel room for 2 days. Didn't answer calls, didn't go to the office. I needed space to think without their voices in my head. But Marcus found me anyway. He knocked on the door. Soft, persistent. Emily, please. I know you're in there. Let me in. I'm worried about you. I opened the door. He looked devastated. Eyes red. Hair disheveled. He pulled me into his arms, held me like I was the only thing keeping him alive. I thought I lost you. God, Emily. I thought you were gone. His voice cracked. His hands trembled, and for a moment I almost believed him, almost forgot what I'd seen. What I knew. That's what made him dangerous. He was too good at this, too convincing. He pulled back, cupped my face in his hands. Come home. Whatever's going on, we'll figure it out together. You and me. Like we always do. I looked into his eyes, searched for the lie, but all I saw was concern, love, desperation. So I went home. That was my first mistake. That night, he made dinner, my favourite, chicken piccata with roasted asparagus. He poured wine, lit candles, put on soft jazz. Talk to me, Emily. Tell me what's wrong. I almost did. Almost confessed everything. The vault, the evidence, Celine, the conspiracy. But something stopped me. A small voice in the back of my mind whispering, Don't. This is a trap. So I lied. Told him work stress. Told him I was overwhelmed. Burned out. He nodded. Sympathetic. Understanding. You've been carrying too much, baby. Let me help you. Let me take some of the weight. His hand slid across the table, fingers intertwining with mine. What if you stepped back from the company for a while? Took a sabbatical. Let the board handle things. There it was. The pitch, wrapped in concern, delivered with love. I smiled, squeezed his hand. Maybe you're right. Maybe I need a break. His eyes lit up, relief flooding his face. That night we made love, slow, tender. He whispered sweet things in my ear, told me he'd always protect me. Always keep me safe, and I let him, because I needed to know how far he'd go, how deep his performance ran. After he fell asleep, I slipped out of bed, went to his study, unlocked his laptop with the password I'd memorized years ago. His email was open. I scrolled through, found a thread with Celine. Subject line, timeline. The messages made my stomach turn. Marcus, she's getting suspicious. We need to move faster. Celine, the memory protocol is working, but she's fighting it. Stronger than we expected. Marcus, increase the dosage. I don't care if it causes headaches or gaps. We're running out of time. Celine, and if she finds the vault again... Marcus, she won't. I changed the encryption. Even if she tries, it'll trigger an alert. We'll know. Celine, what about Daniel? Marcus, he's leverage. If she tries anything, we remind her what she has to lose. I stopped breathing. My son. They were using my son as leverage. I kept reading. Marcus, the gala is in 3 weeks. That's when we make the move. Public. Tragic. No one will question it. Celine, and after. Marcus, you step in. Grieving best friend. Temporary CEO. Within 6 months it'll be permanent. The board's already agreed. Emily's instability has been well documented. Celine, she built this company. Don't you feel anything? Marcus, I feel rich. And I'm about to feel richer. Don't get sentimental on me now. I closed the laptop, backed away slowly. Marcus stirred in the bedroom, called out my name. Emily, you okay? I wiped my eyes, steadied my voice. Yeah, just getting water. I walked back to bed, laid down next to the man I'd loved for 10 years, the man I'd built a life with, the man who was planning to kill me. He pulled me close, kissed my shoulder. I love you, he whispered. I love you too, I whispered back. But we were both lying. And the scary part, I didn't know who was better at it anymore. 3 days later, I met David Chen. He was a journalist, investigative reporter for a cybersecurity publication. He reached out via encrypted email, said he'd been tracking DataVault for months. Said he knew about the surveillance contracts, the data trafficking, the corruption. He wanted to meet, said he could help. I should have known better, should have seen it coming. But I was desperate, drowning, and he looked like a lifeline. We met in a coffee shop in Brooklyn. Somewhere public, somewhere I thought I'd be safe. He was younger than I expected. Late 30s, sharp eyes, confident smile. He slid a folder across the table. I've been documenting everything. Your company isn't just storing data, it's weaponizing it. Selling it to the highest bidder. Foreign governments, criminal syndicates, people who use it to manipulate elections, blackmail politicians, destroy lives. I opened the folder. Screenshots, financial records, communication logs, everything I'd found in my vault. And more. How did you get this? He leaned back, sipped his coffee. I have sources. People inside your company who don't agree with what's happening. People who want to see the truth come out. I studied him, tried to read him. But he was smooth, practiced. Why come to me? Because you're the founder, the face of the company. If you go public with this, if you blow the whistle, it'll have impact. It'll mean something. He paused, leaned forward. And because I think you're in danger, Emily, I think they're planning to remove you. Permanently. My pulse quickened. He knew. How did he know? Who's they? Your husband, your assistant, your board. They've been planning this for months, maybe longer. You're a liability now. You know too much. And you're not playing along anymore. I felt the tears coming. Fought them back. I don't know who to trust. He reached across the table, took my hand. His touch was warm, reassuring. Trust me, I can protect you. I can get this story out before they make their move. But I need access. I need the vault. And there it was, the ask. The reason he was really here. But I was too far gone to see it, too desperate to question it. I gave him access, sent him the location of the backup server. Gave him partial encryption keys. Told him everything. He smiled, squeezed my hand. You're doing the right thing, Emily. You're brave. We met 3 more times over the next week. Each time he got closer, more personal. His hand lingered on my arm. His eyes held mine a little too long. He told me about his ex-wife, his daughter he barely saw. How lonely this work made him. How rare it was to meet someone who truly understood the stakes. And I felt it. That pull, that dangerous spark of connection when you're at your most vulnerable. One night, after too much wine, he kissed me. I kissed him back. It was wrong. I knew it was wrong, but it felt like the first honest thing that had happened to me in months. When I pulled away, I saw something flicker in his eyes. Something I couldn't name. I should go, I said. He nodded, walked me to my car. Be careful, Emily. Don't trust anyone, not even me. It was supposed to sound noble, self-aware. But looking back, it was a warning I didn't hear. 2 days later, I got a notification. Someone had accessed the vault, downloaded everything. I called David, no answer. I checked the news, nothing. No story, no exposé, no justice. I went to the coffee shop where we'd first met. Asked the barista if she'd seen him. She looked at me confused. Who? David Chen. The journalist. We've been meeting here all week. She shook her head. I've been working every shift this week. You've been sitting alone each time, talking to yourself. My blood went cold. That's when I checked my phone, scrolled through our text messages, but they weren't there. None of them. No calls, no emails, no encrypted messages, nothing. David Chen didn't exist, or if he did, he wasn't who I thought he was. I'd given the vault to a ghost, to someone they'd sent, someone who'd played me perfectly, who'd used my loneliness, my fear, my desperate need to believe someone gave a damn. I sat in my car. Hands shaking, mind racing. How much of my life was real anymore? How many people were playing parts? How many memories were mine? And the worst thought of all, if I couldn't trust my own mind, how was I supposed to fight back? I stopped sleeping, stopped eating. I wandered through my apartment like a ghost, questioning everything. Was that picture frame always there? Did I buy that vase? When did the couch move 6 inches to the left? Marcus watched me with concern that felt like performance art. You're not well, Emily. Maybe we should see someone. A therapist. A doctor. I nodded, agreed, played along. But I was planning. I went back to the office, late at night. Used my admin access to pull surveillance footage. If Celine was replacing me, there had to be evidence. And there was. Everywhere. She'd been attending meetings as me. Taking calls in my voice. Signing documents with my signature for weeks. While I was home, sedated by whatever Marcus was putting in my food, she was out there being me. Better than I ever was. I found footage of a board meeting I didn't remember attending. But there I was, on screen, presenting quarterly numbers, making jokes, charming the investors. Except it wasn't me, it was Celine, wearing my face, my clothes, my mannerisms perfected down to the smallest detail. How? Deepfake? Prosthetics? Surgery? I zoomed in on her hand. There. A small scar on her left thumb. The same scar I got when Daniel was 3, and I cut myself opening a juice box. They'd given her my scars. My imperfections. My humanity. I kept digging. Found medical records in the company's encrypted health files. Authorization for advanced cosmetic procedures. Paid for by the corporation. Recipient? Celine Moreau. Facial reconstruction. Voice modulation surgery. Gait analysis and replication therapy. They'd been building her into me for over a year. Long before I discovered the vault. Long before I became a problem. This was always the plan. From the moment they realized I wouldn't play along. From the moment I started asking questions. I was never meant to survive this company. I was just a prototype, a proof of concept, and now that the product was viable, the prototype needed to be decommissioned. I printed everything, saved copies to 3 different drives, hid them in places they'd never think to look. Then I did something crazy, something desperate. I called Celine. She answered on the 2nd ring, her voice cheerful, innocent. "Emily, is everything okay? I need to see you. Tonight, my place, just us." Silence. Then, of course, "I'll be there in 20. I hung up, prepared myself. This was it. Confrontation, truth, maybe violence. I didn't know anymore. She arrived exactly on time. Knocked softly. I opened the door. We stood there. 2 versions of the same woman. One dying, one being born. "I know," I said. She didn't ask what, didn't pretend. Just nodded. "How long have you known?" "Long enough." She walked past me, sat on my couch like she owned it. "Maybe she already did. You should have just retired, Emily." Gone quietly. They would have let you, given you a payout. Let you keep Daniel. But you had to dig, had to play hero. I sat across from her, studied the face that would outlive mine. "You're my best friend," she laughed, cold, sharp. "I was never your friend. I was your understudy, waiting for my cue. And you know what? I'm better at being you than you ever were. More agreeable, more manageable, less complicated." "Why?" She leaned forward, eyes hard. "Because you built something beautiful and then refused to let it grow. You had morals, ethics, boundaries. Do you know how much money you left on the table because you felt bad? This company could be worth billions. Instead, it's worth millions. Because of you, because you cared too much. So you're going to kill me and take my life." She shook her head. You're going to kill yourself, Emily. The pressure, the paranoia, the delusions. Everyone's already seen you falling apart. No one will be surprised when you finally break." "When?" She checked her watch. "The children's hospital event." 3 weeks. You'll give a speech. I'll approach with flowers. You'll pull a gun from your purse. You'll shoot yourself in front of everyone. Tragic. Shocking. Understandable given your mental state. I felt the air leave my lungs. "My son will be there." She shrugged. "He'll remember you as brilliant, but broken, sad, but inevitable. And I'll raise him, the way you would have wanted. He'll never know the difference." I stared at her. This woman wearing my scars, stealing my life, erasing me while I was still breathing. "You won't get away with this." She stood, smiled. "I already have, Emily. The woman you were died months ago. I'm just cleaning up the paperwork." She walked to the door. Paused. "For what it's worth, I did admire you once, before I realized how weak you were." Then she left, and I sat there in the dark, trying to figure out how to kill a woman who was already living as my ghost. I had 3 weeks. 3 weeks to dismantle a conspiracy that had been built around me for over a year. 3 weeks to prove I wasn't crazy while they systematically made me look insane. But I had something they didn't know about, something I'd built before the memory manipulation started, before they rewired my brain. A second vault, buried deeper than the first. Accessible only through a biometric key they couldn't fake, my son's handprint. Years ago, when Daniel was 5, I'd scanned his hand as part of a game. Told him he was a secret agent, made him laugh, saved the scan. Used it to lock away the most dangerous information I had. Information about who was really funding Data Vault. Information about the politicians on the payroll, the blackmail files, the kill list. My name was on that list, number 7. 6 people before me were already dead. Suicides, car accidents, sudden illnesses, all within the last 18 months. I'd documented everything, time-stamped, encrypted, waiting for the day I'd need it. That day was now. I picked Daniel up from school, told Marcus I was taking him for ice cream. Just mother-son time. He didn't argue. He was too busy planning my funeral. We drove to a storage facility in Queens, Unit 247. I'd rented it under a fake name, paid for 5 years in advance. Daniel thought it was an adventure. He didn't know he was my fail-safe. My insurance policy, my last act of love. I placed his hand on the scanner. The vault opened. Inside, hard drives, documents, recorded confessions I'd gathered before the memory gaps started. And a video, recorded 6 months ago. Me, talking to future me. I pressed play. The woman on screen looked healthier, clearer. She leaned close to the camera. If you're watching this, Emily, it means they got to you. Means they started the memory protocol. Means you're probably doubting everything right now. Doubting me. Doubting your own sanity. She paused. Took a breath. You need to know you're not crazy. Everything you suspect is real. Marcus has been cheating on you for 2 years. With Celine, they've been planning this from the start. He married you for the company. She befriended you for access. You were always just a vehicle for their ambition. The past me on screen looked directly into the camera, into my eyes. And you need to know something else. You gave them permission. Not consciously. But you signed a waiver. At a meditation retreat Marcus took you to, you thought it was a liability form. It wasn't. It was consent for experimental neural therapy. They've been editing your memories for months. Making you forget. Making you compliant. I felt my stomach drop. But you're smart, Emily. You planned for this. Everything you need is in this vault. Evidence. Escape routes. A new identity for you and Daniel. Money and offshore accounts they can't trace. She leaned back, smiled sadly. I know you're scared. I know you want to give up. But you can't. Because if you die, they win. And Daniel grows up thinking his mother was weak, was broken, was a victim. She wiped her eyes. Don't let them make you a victim, Emily. Fight back. Burn it all down. Make them regret the day they tried to delete you. The video ended. I sat there, Daniel beside me, eating his ice cream, oblivious. I had 2 choices, run or fight. Running meant survival, a new life, safety for Daniel. But it meant they won. Meant Celine got to be me. Meant 6 dead people stayed unavenged. Fighting meant risk, meant danger, meant possibly losing everything. But it also meant they'd know. Emily Hart doesn't delete quietly. I looked at Daniel. His innocent eyes, his trust in me, his belief that I could fix anything. I made my choice. I copied everything to a secure server. Set it to auto-release if I missed a check-in. Sent encrypted copies to 5 journalists. Real ones this time, people I'd verified, people who couldn't be bought. Then I did something they'd never expect. I went back to work. Acted normal. Played the part of the woman slowly breaking down. I let Celine think she'd won. Let Marcus believe I was subdued. Let the board assume I was manageable. But every night, I was dismantling their empire. Piece by piece, transferring funds, corrupting data, building evidence chains they couldn't erase. I became a ghost in my own company. Moving through their systems, invisible, untouchable, and I waited. For the children's hospital event, for the moment Celine would approach with flowers, for the gun I knew would be in my purse because they'd plant it there. But this time, I'd be ready. This time, the woman who got deleted wouldn't be me. The day of the children's hospital event, I woke up calm. Marcus noticed. It worried him. You seem better, he said. testing me. I am, I replied. I've accepted things. Accepted what needs to happen. He kissed my forehead. Relieved. He thought I meant giving up. Stepping down. Disappearing quietly. He had no idea I meant war. The hospital was decorated beautifully. Balloons, streamers, children laughing. Daniel was in the front row, his eyes shining with pride. My son. My reason for everything. I gave my speech. Talked about innovation. About building a better future. About how data could save lives or destroy them, depending on who controlled it. The crowd applauded. I saw Marcus and Celine in the back, watching, waiting. Then, exactly as planned, Celine stepped forward, flowers in hand, gun hidden beneath them. Her eyes were cold, professional. This was just business for her. Just the final scene in a script I was supposed to follow. She handed me the bouquet. I took it, smiled. Thank you, Celine, for everything. She tensed. Something in my voice wasn't right. That's when I did what they never expected. I dropped the flowers, stepped back, and spoke into the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to tell you something. This woman is not my assistant. Her name is Celine Moreau, and for the past year she's been surgically altered to replace me, to become me, so that she and my husband can steal my company and erase me from existence. Gasps. Confusion. Celine's face went white. The gun fell from her hand. Hit the ground, people screamed. Security moved in, but I kept talking. In my purse you'll find evidence. Contracts, medical records, communication logs, everything you need to know that what I'm saying is true. Marcus was running, pushing through the crowd, but police were already there. Officers I'd contacted days earlier, people I'd shown the evidence to, people who believed me. Celine tried to run, but where could she go? She looked like me. She'd made herself into me, and now everyone knew. They arrested her, arrested Marcus, led them away in handcuffs while cameras flashed and reporters shouted questions. Daniel ran to me, crying, confused. I held him, whispered that everything would be okay, that Mommy was safe now, but I was lying. Because 3 days later I was found dead in my apartment. Overdose, sleeping pills, a note beside me apologizing for everything, for being paranoid, for ruining lives, for not being strong enough. The news called it tragic. Said the pressure was too much, said I couldn't handle the exposure. The scandal, the betrayal. Celine and Marcus were released. Charges dropped due to lack of evidence. Turns out the files I'd given police were corrupted. The journalists never received the encrypted data. The auto-release failed. The vault was wiped. Every trace of my evidence gone. At my funeral, Celine cried, delivered a beautiful eulogy about her best friend, about how brilliant I was, how troubled, how missed I'd be. 6 months later she was named CEO. The board voted unanimously. She promised to honor my legacy, to run the company the way I would have wanted. Daniel lives with her now, calls her by my name sometimes. She doesn't correct him. Marcus married her a year later. Quiet ceremony, nothing flashy. They didn't want to seem disrespectful so soon after my death. Data Vault is worth $3 billion now. Celine expanded the surveillance contracts, partnered with governments I'd refused to work with. The company I built to protect people now hunts them. And me? Emily Hart. I'm a cautionary tale, a brilliant woman who couldn't handle success, who saw conspiracies where there were none, who destroyed herself from the inside out. But here's what they don't know. I'm not dead. The woman who overdosed was already gone. A Jane Doe they'd been holding at the morgue for weeks. Same height, same build. Fingerprints and DNA corrupted just enough to pass cursory inspection but fail deep analysis. I switched us, staged the scene, left the note in handwriting I'd been practicing to make shaky. Desperate, broken, I disappeared, took a new name, new face, new life. I watch from a distance, monitor the company, track their crimes, build new evidence they'll never see coming. Because the thing about being erased is that dead women can't be threatened, can't be manipulated, can't be stopped. They think they won. They think Emily Hart is gone. That the woman who knew too much is finally silent. But in a world where everything is stored, nothing is ever truly deleted. Files can be recovered. Data can be restored. And women who refuse to stay dead become the most dangerous enemies of all. Celine wears my face, lives in my house, raises my son. She thinks she replaced me. But she's just living in a story I'm still writing. And every empire built on lies eventually collapses under the weight of its own corruption. One day, maybe soon, maybe years from now, the truth will surface. All of it, unedited, undeniable. And when it does, the world will know what they did, who they really are, what they're willing to destroy for power. Until then, I'm patient. I'm invisible. I'm the ghost in their machine, the glitch they can't fix, the woman they should have killed when they had the chance. Because Emily Hart isn't just deleted anymore. She's weaponized, and the question isn't if she'll come back. It's when. And what will be left of them when she does. Thank you so much for watching The Woman Who Deleted Her Past. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you never miss our next thriller. We have more dark, suspenseful stories coming your way that will make you question everything you thought you knew about trust, technology, and the people closest to you. Drop a like if Emily's story gave you chills, and let us know in the comments, would you fight back like Emily or would you run? New stories drop every week. Stay tuned. The next one might be even more twisted. See you in the next video. Thank you so much